Next button along, automatic crossfade. Again, you'll notice by default it is on. Let's turn it off. Now I would like pictures, instead of just jumping from one to the other, to actually blend. There's different ways of doing this, but you'll notice that I'm moving this picture across and they're not blending together. They're not going to fade from one gently to the other. That's because I've just gone and turned this button off. So again, automatic crossfades, generally you leave depressed because it's unhappy. You leave it down so that when you cross a picture now, you'll see that it's getting a time, and that time is how long that it slowly fades between one picture and the other. So we again play these two now. Oh, it's not going to help because they're both the same picture. Let's rather go and do a 3-second fade or a 2.2 second fade. Let's see what's actually occurring. When we watch the video now, you'll see it slowly fades to the zebra. The next button often gets ignored, and boy, I wish I'd used this in the early days, because it could save a lot of time. Let's again show you a project that's been edited a lot. You've got gaps, you've got holes, your pictures are all over the place, and you're trying to tidy all of this up now. Let's get rid of those shorter pictures because they're harder to see, so I just highlighted them and hit the delete key. And let's now go and tidy this project up, and quite simply I just want to pull all of these pictures together. Now you could sit there and do one by one, and which would obviously drive you nuts, or in worst case take a lot of time. There's another way people could do it, which is right click, select events to end, and then drag them all together. The trouble is, after each click you'll need to reselect to end over and over again. Well, this is where the next button comes in really handy. Auto Ripple, strange name, but by turning that on it gives you a lot more control. The default is each picture gets moved one by one, as you can see, which is great. But I want to be able to move things in blocks. So you can use the auto ripple, but because you use this command quite a bit, I'd like to tell you the shortcut. To turn it on, I'm going to Control L. Now what has that done for me? Well, watch this picture here. When I drag it now, it is moving everything together. But the beauty of it is, the next block I click on, it still will all move together. And it will still all move together, and it will still all move together, all move together, and look at that, all move together, instead of doing each picture one by one. The other beauty it is, you need to insert something. So again, how would you insert it? Well, now with auto ripple on, you can now move gaps in the project where you need to insert things. You want to turn it off, you simply hit Control L again, or go to the ripple button at the top of the screen, and now you're back to moving individual pictures. So if you get in the habit of using Control L when you're trying to shift up your images or your video to bring them in together or overlap them, that's really is a handy button. In a way, we are doing things a bit backwards because we're going with the buttons in order. We haven't really looked at shifting things up and down in a timeline or getting to certain sections of our project. But let's do the buttons as we were doing in order. So again, let's leave the video as it is. There's Control L on or off, so it's currently off. Now we got the selection tool. We were showing, or I was showing you how to make pictures merge nice and slowly so it looks very good on your TV screen. But of course, and I know I'm getting to this a bit early, but let's go to transitions. There's lots of fancier ways of doing things. And again, everything in Vegas is generally drag and drop. But can you imagine thinking you have to do this one by one for all of the pictures? So let's look at the next button or tool. It's called, well, I've got to find it first. Selection tool. The default tool is this one. This is the one we do our editing with. I want to go to the selection edit tool, the one that looks like an arrow. What's nice about that now is I can, as you can see, my cursor has changed to a rectangle. I can highlight all of those and say I would like all of those videos to now shuffle. So I will go to the dead center of my first, or between the first two images that I have, let go, and you'll see that that transition has been put through all of the clips that I wished to have this effect. If I wanted a different one, I could select those there and pick a different effect, page peel, and we'll again drag it to the first location. And you'll, no, my apologies, you can't do that. So we'll highlight them all again, and we will drag page peel in between the first and second, and you'll see that that filters through to all. What has that done for me? Well, let me select an area to either do effects on, transitions on, delete, even though there is a simpler way of deleting. But let's go back to my normal tool quickly, which is normal edit tool, and let's go and see what that's done for my first video clip. You'll see how it page peels now between the pictures. Or we'll go to the one we did first, hit spacebar, and you'll see that we've got this flip effect. And we didn't have to do it for all of the pictures, we just used our selection tool to say what area would we like to add this transition. Much earlier we changed the default to make all pictures fit the width of the screen. So if I go back to project media and we look at that picture, I think we can spacebar it. No. You'll notice that it is a vertical photo. So generally that would have just been a vertical picture with 60% black screen when you played it on the television, which is very hard to see. The trouble is, it's a vertical picture. There's a lot more there to see than we're seeing. We've only got a slight snapshot of it. So the next thing I'd like to, while we're still on the basic settings, is to go to this button here, Event Pan Crop, on this vertical picture, and you can see how little of that picture we are now seeing. So this is the first time, and we could use these many times for many things, but let's bring in something called keyframes. There is the length of this picture, which you can see is 5.19 seconds. What is this picture doing for those 5.9? Well, it's just sitting there dead center. So let's go to the first keyframe, and I'm going to say when this video starts, I would like it to be right down the bottom, and when it gets to the end, or maybe a little before the end, let's leave it near the end. When it's almost at the end of its 5 seconds, I would like it to be showing the top. Now in hindsight, I know this is going to run through too quick. I should have probably stretched this video to 10 seconds, but you'll get the idea of the effect. I've clicked on a keyframe, and I've made another keyframe, and that video should slowly pan up the screen. Let's have a look. Down. Oh no, he's panning up. So as you can see, that will appear on the television quite smoothly. And what a way to see a vertical picture. Normally when they're on the TV screen, they're hard to see. But you've now got a vertical picture that almost turns into a nice piece of video. I would probably slow that down to 10 seconds. Okay, let's just cover a couple of editing. There's one other button I probably want to quickly show you. Let's just cover the moving around your project buttons. As you can see, there's a timeline there where we can shift left and right. This entire project is barely 2 minutes long at this stage. You can go up and down your project, because at this moment we're only working on one timeline, being photo. We've added no voice or no music. So those two bars you can move back and forward. I've explained that spacebar and spacebar again will let you play the video. You have this tool which allows you to go very fast through your project or very slowly back. So you can really get to where you want to be and then let go, and there you are. But a very hand, and of course, okay, and then the next button or tool, which I use most of the time, is the thumb wheel or the finger wheel on your mouse. If you haven't got a finger wheel, I really suggest you go out and buy one. Because let's pretend this project is 2 hours long. If I thumb wheel all the way back, it stretches out to the full length of the project. If that was 2 hours, we'd be viewing 2 hours worth of clips. I want to go and work roughly there. I can now thumb wheel in. I can click to a new area, thumb wheel in, down to milliseconds probably. So I thumb wheel out because I'm completely lost. Now I'd like to go and work at the beginning of my project. So I go in and I start to thumb wheel in. Or the alternative way of doing it is you can use the zoom edit tool. You'll now see that I've changed to a magnifying glass. I happen to know that I just want to work on that piece of video or only. I'll let go and that's it. Just that section I selected. I can now play it, work on it. Okay, I was still in magnifying mode when I did that, so not quite what I wanted to see. We'll come out of that and get back to the default.